everybody, and I'm Cristina here, and today I'm zooming with Hedy Schleifer, and I love Hedy. She's an international master relationship builder and motivational speaker who guides and teaches couples, businesses, families, all about relational maturity. And Hedy is the founder of the Encountered Centered Couples Transformation. Am I right?
Yes, you're right. Right. Yeah.
Good. And then you believe that actually peace begins within the family. Am I right?
Yes. Within the human family.
Within the human family, right. Okay, so Hedy, we have 15 minutes and we will trust the universe that our message will be delivered within that time. And I hope that after this is all said and done, that maybe I get to give you a hug in real life and do 15 minutes more.
I would love it.
So, actually, one of the questions that I was thinking to ask you is, considering all of this chaos that we're going through right now, and some of the divisions that we're experiencing as well, because there's people who believe that this is the 5G towers, that this is a conspiracy theory, and there's so many different things that people believe. So how are we going to navigate through this in your view?
You know, Christine, I feel like each one of us is a light. And we are responsible to light up where we are. We are 100% responsible for the energetic space where we move. And so when we get up in the morning, it is so important we remember that we are a human web, that we are interconnected and interdependent, and that each human is really equal, that we are, in our essence, beautiful beings, kind and generous and loving. And as each one of us takes responsibility just for where we live and put light into our environment, then the balance in the planet can shift. Because I think that unless we do it from where we live and from where we stand, on a big scale, nothing shifts. But on a small scale, every person taking responsibility, and the balance in the whole planet will shift. You know, we only need 90 million couples to really cross the bridge to each other as deep partners,
right,
for there to be a pandemic of relational maturity.
I love it.
Time for that pandemic, you see.
Wow.
Because when 3% of the population, just like now with the corona, when 3% of the population has it, then it spreads pandemically. And so when 3% of the population is mature in their relationship and is willing to learn and be that light,
yes,
it'll be a pandemic of relational maturity and a planet that is love.
Woo! I feel it in my heart. This is so beautiful. I love it. I love it. Yeah.
Oh, you know, you told me that you're Italian, and I love your gestures and your enthusiasm. It's from your culture. It's very special.
Thank you so much, Hedy.
Yes.
Thank you. You know, you are a relationship mender and a relationship builder. What are the most important ingredients for building a healthy relationship? Because there's a lot of unhealthy relationships, right? So how do we build a healthy one?
Right. So I don't call it unhealthy. I call it in survival.
In survival.
There are relationships in survival, and there are relationships in life in connection. So there's coping and surviving, and there's living and thriving. And so the question becomes, how does a couple live and thrive instead of cope and survive?
Right.
And it's important to know that all couples survive at a certain level and have to learn how to welcome thriving and living. So I don't use the language of healthy and unhealthy, survival and life.
Okay.
Now, how do we go transition from one to the other? And one thing is very important to know, that when in our relationship we're in survival, we will feel disconnected, and the space between us will be polluted, and we will feel it. It will be toxic. You can come to a house where a couple has just had a fight, and they don't have to tell you they had a fight. They love you. Hello. But you can feel it in their space. Their space is toxic.
Yeah.
So when we are in our survival dance, our space is toxic. What connects us? So there are three invisible connectors. One is taking responsibility for the quality of the space. So before our talk, you and I had a little schmooze. And in that schmooze, we put lovely energy between the two of us. We took charge of the quality of the space. And that was very important for our interview.
Yes.
So that's one, is taking responsibility for the quality of the space. The second one is that there's a bridge between people, because couples are incompatible. God only puts incompatible people together because two of us are the same. One of us is superfluous, right? We need to be really different. So we have different worlds. There's a bridge, and we have to learn how to cross the bridge with new eyes to really know who is the person on the other side of this bridge. And then the third invisible connector is the result of honoring the space and crossing the bridge. It's called the encounter. And you and I had an encounter like this, you know? It's that place where you just feel really connected to the other person. You feel like time has stopped.
Yeah.
You feel like there are no boundaries. You're just really together. And that's the encounter. And every human is capable of the encounter. We have it sometimes in nature. You know, you go walk in nature and suddenly you're in the encounter. You feel at one. Or with music,
Yeah.
you know, suddenly you're in the encounter. So the encounter is a human capacity. And when we honor the space and we cross the bridge, we create the conditions for the encounter. And every couple deserves to live in the encounter zone.
Oh,
You know, the other day, my husband and I were in a cab, in an Uber actually, and the man said, "You guys aren't married. I can't imagine a married couple having so much fun together, talking so much, holding hands. You are not married." You see, when people experience others in the encounter zone, they think it must be the romantic phase. It can't be a marriage.
Right.
But every couple deserves to live in the encounter zone.
Absolutely. So that takes a lot of maturity, like you say. And how do we overcome that phase of, I don't know if I'm explaining myself well, that illusion, you know, like what happened to me, right? I fell for the illusion, the Cinderella dream, the Prince Charming who comes and rescues me and takes me to the castle. And a lot of people, I've witnessed a lot of couples getting married because of that illusion, that infatuation, that lust.
Yeah.
How do we deal with that society that, you know, supports that type of relationship? I mean, you watch movies and music, they're all giving that message that that's how it's supposed to be.
Yes. And you know what's interesting about what you described is that it's actually chemicals. You know, the romantic phase is a complex bunch of chemicals that feel wonderful.
Yeah.
It have nothing to do with living, you know, the rest of your life. And so I think to really know that I love those chemicals and I feel great, and that is not what our relationship is about. It's not about chemicals, although in the encounter zone, there is a chemical in the body called oxytocin. And oxytocin, when you see older couples who are so cute together and they hold hands and they kiss each other, they are on oxytocin. You see, oxytocin is also the drug that's in the body of a mother when she gives birth. So she falls in love with a baby. You see, oxytocin does come inside of our bodies when we do the mature type of cuddling and the mature type of connecting and the mature type of being together. We get another drug as a gift. The first one, nothing feels like that one. That is unique, and I wish on every person to have an experience like that. But don't confuse that with marriage.
Yes, makes perfect sense. And people often confuse that.
Yes, there is a confusion, and because of what you said, some of the culture says that's what you need to aim for.
Right.
You know, you were saying to me, if somebody asks me to marry me in an unbelievably romantic, unique, out of the box way, that's going to be my person. Well, probably not. It'll be a great moment,
Yes.
but not a reason to get married.
Yes. Yes. In hindsight, I should have said, thank you so much. I really enjoyed this moment. This was my dream come true, but no, thank you.
Exactly. Maybe you should say what he did, because I've never heard anyone do something like that.
Okay, so I wrote in my diary. I used to write in my law of attraction diary that I would recognize my soulmate by the way he proposes to me. And I said it has to be a proposal that's very romantic, very unique and original. So the person that I met proposed to me indeed in a very original way. He put me in this beautiful field, and then he said to me, look up, honey, look up in the sky in about 20 minutes. And then I see this plane hovering up in the sky. I'm like, wow, really? And then all of a sudden I see this little dot tumbling down, and the dot comes close, and then the parachute opens up, and then he just lands at my feet with the rose in his mouth and the ring. And he asks me to marry him. And I was like, that must be it. I mean, that's gotta be it.
Here is the distinction, Christine, between a romantic partner and a soulmate. This man truly knew how to create romance, but he was not your soulmate.
Yes.
And a soulmate is a very, very different person. And you know, when my husband first asked me to marry I said no. I was 20 years old, and I was really waiting for the prince on the white horse.
Yes.
And he said to me, what am I to you? And I said, you know, you are my very best friend.
Oh.
And so he looked deep in my eyes and he said, as your very best friend, I recommend you marry me.
That's beautiful.
And it was a very good recommendation. But you can see it has nothing to do with romance. It was just a deep statement from a very good friend.
Yes.
And that's very different.
Very different.
Romance.
Yeah, very different. It's like, I often say, you know, if you go just with that lust, that attraction, you know, you end up in bed, you might end up in bed with your enemy.
Exactly correct. And you know, some people are so addicted to the drugs that are part of that romantic phase that as soon as those drugs come out, they leave the person and then they find another one. And at the beginning of any romantic relationship, you'll have those drugs.
Yes.
So they are addicted to that experience. But a long-term relationship is a very different journey. It's a journey of welcoming connection at a deeper and deeper and deeper level by honoring the space, crossing the bridge, and creating the zone of the encounter.
Yes. You need to teach that to many, many people, because
90 million.
Yeah, how many? 19? 19?
90
90?
million.
How do we do that? That's a lot of people.
With interviews like yours.
This needs to be spread. I mean, I watched your documentary as well, Crossing the Bridge.
Yes.
That was amazing.
Yes. Yes, because couples, you saw in the documentary, every couple can turn a corner from their survival dance into the dance of life in connection. And you saw there were so many different couples, different ages.
Yes.
They know how to turn the corner once somebody shows them how.
Yes. I mean, what I've witnessed at your seminars, workshops, it's miracles, really. Like literally, I was crying. I had tears in my eyes to see
Yes.
how you transform a relationship like that. It's
Yes, yes. And it's always the same principle. It goes from the dance of survival to the dance of life in connection. And that's why I don't like to use healthy, unhealthy, because it isn't in that realm. It's just survival, which our whole planet is in survival, in the survival dance, and we are polluting the space, literally and figuratively. And our whole planet deserves to transform into the dance of life in connection, a big world community where people really understand how sacred life is.
yes.
That's really at the essence how sacred life is. And you know, we see it when we see a baby, because the baby is still completely in their essence and their faces are so joyful, their eyes are so trusting. And you know, if you've got a little one like this in a cart in the supermarket and an older person who's got hardening of the attitudes, you know, they're totally wrinkled up and everything. And then you see that baby and you see their face soften and they smile and they're now in connection with their own essence. They see the essence in the baby and they're in touch with their own essence.
Yeah.
And that's really what needs to happen in our planet for all of us, to be in touch with our own sacred, deep, beautiful, trusting essence.
Yes. And that makes a lot of sense. And I guess, you know, with these interviews that I'm doing, I want to, my aim is to really bring together people like you and to give out those type of messages where we can hopefully navigate towards a world like that.
Exactly
And
right.
now it's the perfect time and it feels so right. And you know, we are in a time of uncertainty. Obviously we don't actually know, but all we can do is be the light right now and keep being positive and being responsible and accountable for our own, you know, actions.
Exactly. And to remember that uncertainty is what life is about, not just when there is corona. Well, life is uncertain, and to welcome uncertainty and do our job as sacred beings.
Yeah. Look at that, Hedy.
Wow. 15 minutes.
Perfect. And perfect ending, right?
I agree with you.
Perfect ending. And so before I go, I just want to remind everybody that you are to be found on www.hedyschleifer.com, and I'm going to put it on at the bottom of the interview as well. And then, well, I hope to, you know, continue this discussion perhaps in real life one day when this is all over. And
Amen to that. Yes.
I actually teach conscious laughter. And so something that really resonated with me when you said, when you look at the baby and they're so joyful and, you know, and trusting. So I do my job and contribute to the world with spreading joy and laughter. So I create the encounter zone through laughter. Yes, and it's also very transformational and powerful. And so I recognized immediately when you said the baby, you know, so I use kind of playful things. So I was wondering if you want to do a little joyful breathing with me.
I would love to do joyful breathing with you.
Okay, so it goes like that. We're going to breathe in for 4, and then on the exhale, we're going to just laugh it out. Okay. Are you ready? Okay.
Yes.
So we're gonna breathe in for 4. And stay there. And now, okay, let it out. Laughter. I really
Right,
appreciated that
right.
moment with
That
you.
was lovely. That was lovely.
If you liked this interview, please like and subscribe onto my channel, Cristina Lorefice. Thank you and see you again with somebody new. Zooming with. Bye.